Okay, number 8, B'siyata Dishmaya. So 8 over here is Yichboish Avoinoi Seinu. Yichboish Avoinoi Seinu. Very, very interesting one, this one. This actually means the Rabbeinu Shalom will conceal our Aveiras. Okay, let's have a look what that means. It's a bit of a long one, but we'll get through this. It's great. Hare, HaKadosh Baruch Hu Misnaigim Yisrael B'midah Zu. The Rabbeinu Shalom treats Klal Yisrael with this exact Middah. Right, that means he is kovesh, he conceals our averis, that they don't come anywhere near him. V'hisoid kavishas ha'avoin. This is called a secret. Why is it a secret? Because it's learned from Kabbalistic places, it's learned from Kabbalah. We don't fully understand exactly how it works, but we can get some idea. And that basically is, the Rabbeinu Shalom causes the sin not to come anywhere near him. Okay? Kihine. A mitzvah is like basically a tree that blossoms, right? And a tree that grows higher and higher and higher, right? And there's no limit to how high a mitzvah can actually reach. Just like a tree goes higher and higher, a mitzvah, so to speak, shoots up to Shamayim, or right to the Kisah HaKavod, and there's no end to how high it can be and how close it can be to Hashem. That's a mitzvah. Omnom, however, ha'avonos ein lehem knisa sham, chas v'shalom. Averas have no way to get in to the inner chamber close to Hashem. Ela kovsham shelo yikonsu. The Rabbeinu Shalom, so to speak, suppresses them, pushes them down to make sure that the Aveiras come nowhere near him. Kiddush Siv. Where's the right? Posuk in Tehillim Perik Hey Posuk Hey. Lo yugurcha ra. That means evil cannot dwell in the same place as Hashem. And the Gemara Darshans and the Gemara in Shabbos Kufchav Tesam and Beis Lo yagur b'megorcha ra. That means at the end of the day, the Rabbeinu Shalom and bad cannot exist in the same place. Okay, the Metzias of bad can't be with Hashem. It's just how it is. And it just gives us another thing, that there's no such thing. The Igeres HaTshuva from the Heilige Balatanya brings down that, I think it's in Perek Yud, where he says that there's no Metzias of Ra by Hashem. There's no such thing as bad by Hashem. It doesn't exist. It doesn't coincide, doesn't work, doesn't coexist. There's no bad by Hashem. Mimela, that's how no bad can ever come to the world, because Hashem there's no bad by Hashem b'chalal. But what he's saying over here is much deeper. There's no badness that can reach the Rabbeinu Shalom. We can do bad things. We're human beings. We can unfortunately stumble and do bad things. But they don't reach Hashem because they're bad. And that's a chesed from Hashem. Im kain, eino over nichnas penima. So that bad doesn't go close to Hashem. The Aveira that you do will not get close to Rabbeinu Shalom. Umitam zeh. This is pshat. Where Chazal tells us in Kedushin Lamates, Schar mitzvah b'hai al maleka. A person cannot get rewarded in this world for any mitzvah that he does. Why? Because mitzvahs are so great, they can go straight up to Hashem. How is it possible to have a mitzias of where the Rabbeinu Shalom will pay us something physical, right, with something that's so much ruchnias? In other words, a mitzvah is so much ruchnias, you can't pay ruchnias back in a physical way in this world, which is why you can't get paid for a mitzvah in this world. And by the way, there's a famous Maisa from the Heilige Chofetz Chaim, Schussen Yugen Aleini. The Chofetz Chaim was once asked, somebody came to the Chofetz Chaim, and he said, Rebbe, I can't afford to put food down on the table. I need to support my family, I need some bread, I need some milk, I need epis, I need something going on, right? So the Chofetz Chaim said, he gave a bracha, he said, what do you want from me? So he said, I'll tell you what I want. I want to give up the reward of 1 day of my tefillin, right? I wear tefillin every day, Baruch Hashem, and I'm sure I get rewarded for that. I want my reward for wearing the tefillin 1 day in this world. And the Chofetz Chaim gave a mashal. What was the mashal? He said like this. He said, imagine if a guy goes over to a grocery store and buys a loaf of bread, which costs $2, $3, whatever it is, and he gives them $1 million bill, which doesn't exist, but let's say it would. It's very nice that you got enough money to pay for it, but they can't give you change. Therefore, what we're saying is, there's no way that the Rebbeinu Shalom can pay a person back in this world for what he has done in a mitzvah, because the mitzvah goes straight up. V'harei, kol ha'olam eini kedai mitzvah achas l'kari ruach asher nafalav. Can you imagine? The entire physicality of this world is nothing compared to the reward that you may be getting. So that means the reward you're getting for one mitzvah is greater than the entire universe put together. Now, here we go. Umitam zeh, lo yikach shoichat shal mitzvahs. The Rabbeinu Shalom cannot be bribed. You can't bribe Hashem with mitzvahs. Meaning, you can't say, listen, Hashem, I'll make you a deal. I did a couple of Averas. I'll do some mitzvahs today. They'll cancel out the Averas. You can't bribe Hashem. Hamoshel was that. Eina Kodesh Baruch Hu Omer. HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't say, for example, Asar buy mitzvahs, do 40 mitzvahs. Ve'eser Averas, 10 Averas. Nisharu Shloisha mitzvahs, we're left with, because you did 10 Averas, we're left with 30 mitzvahs. Ve'yelchu Eser Be'eser, 10 will cancel out 10. Chas v'sholem, doesn't work. Ela afilu tzadik gomer v'osa avera achas. Even a tzadik gomer who does one avera, doimen upon of kiddush service kol Torah. It's a Torah. It's as if he burnt the entire Torah, as if he did nothing. Until, of course, he's machapa for his avera. And then he can get schar for the mitzvahs that he does. But it doesn't come from the cheshbon of any of the mitzvahs that he did. It's a massive chesed that HaKadosh Baruch Hu does not deduct from us on all the mitzvahs that we do because of the averas that we may have done. Mitzvahs are so chashuv, they're on a different madrega. They're on a different madrega of ruchnius, much higher up than everything else. And how can you deduct from them because of the averas which are not equal to them? They're not on the same wavelength. Because the reward, so to speak, as he calls it, from an avera, which is from a despised mokoim of Gehenim. Gehenim over here, the punishment, of course, for an avera is Gehenim, which HaKadosh Baruch Hu despised, because Hashem does not like Gehenim. V'ha-mitzvahs schoren ma'nichbod, ziv shchina. And mitzvahs basically are being a tremendously honorable place, and that's the reward and the splendor of the Shechina. So how can one overpower or deduct from the other one? They're two different things. They're different currencies. They're no shaykhs to each other. The Rebbeinu Shalom says, listen, you did something wrong, you're going to have to pay. But you did something right, you're going to get all the reward for that. And that's a chesed. It's a chesed that the Rebbeinu Shalom doesn't deduct one from the other. But Hainu, let's go back to Devorah talk. What is this Middah, the 8th Middah? Yichvoish avonoseinu. What does it mean that the Rebbeinu Shalom runs the world with Yichvoish avonoseinu? Right? He suppresses, right? Conceals our averas. She'ein ha'avonos miskaben upon mitzvahs. That means that our averas that we do don't overpower, they don't rise like mitzvahs do. HaKadosh Baruch Hu sort of like hides them, conceals them, so they don't come up straight to Shemayim. And even though the Rebbeinu Shalom knows exactly what you've done, don't think for a minute that when you do something bad, the Rebbeinu Shalom doesn't chap and doesn't know, because he doesn't know bad, so therefore I can do whatever I want because Hashem doesn't chap. No. HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows exactly what goes on, and he doesn't conceal your action, he conceals the avera from going up. Im kol zeh, with all of this, the toiv, the good, he doesn't suppress, he doesn't hide, right? He doesn't suppress it. And the poirech va'oila ad moed, he just allows it to go up. The nichal mitzvah b'mitzvah, v'niver many binyan of shnipod. And every mitzvah is mitzdarif, it combines and gets added to its friend, and eventually builds a beautiful building that has a strong standing. Va'avonos enhem skulazu, but averis just don't have the same standing. They don't have the same skula. They don't have the same making. They're not able to motzi peiris. They're not like a tree. And a kovish, HaKadosh Baruch Hu suppresses them. They don't have this hatzlacha. And therefore they have no kiyum, they have no existence, because they can't get up there. Va'af midazu. Okay, Rabbi Sai. Here's the last paragraph, and this talks to us. What is this about? How to make this practical? How are we meant to emulate Hashem when we learn the 8th Middah of Devorah? Here it is. If someone does something bad to you, this is how you should act. It's human nature that when someone does something good for you, great. The minute he does something bad, you forget all of the good that he ever did for you, and you concentrate and highlight and focus on the bad. And that's a problem. Now, it's human nature. And the Torah is asking us to do something which is against our human instincts. But we can do it if he's asking it from us. Ela adarabah. What we should do is, we want to push it down, abandon it, get rid of the bad, forget about it. Don't let, just like the Rebbeinu Shalom doesn't let the bad reside with him, don't let the bad that someone did to you reside in you. Always remember the good that people do for you. And remember the good. And make it have a bigger impact, make it have a much bigger place in your heart and in your brain. Don't say, at the end of the day, very nice, he did me one toiva. But you say, no, he did also be bad. And forget the good because he did something bad. Don't do that. And never forget the good that someone does. Highlight it, remember it, focus on it. Forget about the bad. He might have done something bad. You're right, maybe he did. He spoke about me badly. He ripped me off in business. Whatever it was, push that to the side, just like the Rebbeinu does. As much as you're able. Obviously, we're human beings. We can't do everything. We're not Malachim, we're not Hashem, but we're trying to emulate Hashem. Now again, it's not a natural thing to do, but it's an important thing to remember. When someone does something wrong to you, the first thing you should try to think about is, I want to be like Hashem, and therefore I'm going to remember all the good that he did for me. He did so much good for me, helped me out, he was nice to me, he was polite to me, this, that, the other. I'm going to focus on that. I'm not going to focus on the Ra. I'm not going to allow the Ra to come into my life and into my personal relationships. And that's how emulating Hashem. Join us tomorrow for number 9.